Okay, we're in the middle of a sugya of Agadata. So
Yeah.
we're on the bottom of Vav Amid Beis. Vav Amid Beis, Hekik Dami Gemar Din. How exactly, when is Gemar Din? As we saw in Afgamina, that according to the Tanakhama, once you have Gemar Din, you can't go ahead and make a pshara. According to Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, up until Gemar Din, but before, it's up until you decide it. Once you decide, it's not. We're going to see in the Gemara. I'm going to review because we had just to reiterate, we had a few sheetas yesterday about making a pshara. We had the sheet of Tanakama that it's muta. We had the sheet of Rav Yossi ben Galila that it's asa. We had the sheet of Rabbi Shua ben Karcha that it's a mitzvah. And with the sheet of Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, who said that as long as you're being Isaac, as long as you haven't heard the taina, once you heard the taina, you can't go ahead and make a pshara, right? That was the four sheetas. So now, Hechi Dami Gemar Din, Amar Yehuda Marav, Ish Ploni At Chayiv, Ish Ploni At Zakeh. They go ahead and they pronounce the din. You are Chayiv, you are Zakeh, you are victorious. Amarav, Halach Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, that it's a mitzvah to go ahead and make a pshara. Halach is like Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, that it's a mitzvah to go ahead and make a pshara. Ini, is it really so? But Rav Huna Talmided the Rav Have. Rav Huna was a Talmud of Rav. Ki Avi Asa Kamed Rav Huna. Amalahu, and when they would come into front of Rav Huna, you'd have people who would come for judgment. Idina beisa, ipshara beisa, and he would say, if you want a din, fine. If you want a pshara, fine. So you see, there's no mitzvah. If it's a mitzvah, you just have to go ahead and make a pshara. So it's my mitzvah. Nami to come Rabbi Shimon Karcha mitzvah l'meimerlahu idina beisa, pshara beisa. In other words, we thought the mitzvah was what, to make a pshara. No, the mitzvah is to inform them, what do you want? You want a pshara or do you want a din? That's the mitzvah. That's the Tanakama on the top of the Omid base. Yesterday's Omid, that says Nigmar Adin Ita B'Shoylev Tzaya. So what's the nafkamina between Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, and the Tanakama? Tanakama says it's muta. So Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya said it's a rishus. Tell them if you want this, you want this. Says Gemara Ikabinayu mitzvah. Like the Tanakama, there's never a mitzvah. Like the Tanakama, it's muta to be b'shara. But if you make a b'shara, you didn't do a mitzvah. Like Rabbi Shimon Karcha, you did do a mitzvah. By making a b'shara, you did do a mitzvah. Rabbi Shimon Karcha saw a mitzvah. Tanakama saw a rishus. Rabbi Shimon Karcha says it's a mitzvah, and the Tanakama says it's a rishus. Says Hainu Rabbi Shimon Menasya. Tanakama saw a rishus. So now, if the Tanakama says it's a rishus, Hainu Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, guys. Right? In other words, Shimon Menasya says that you go ahead. As long as you haven't heard their tainas, you can make a pshara. But there's no mitzvah, it's a rishus. Tanakama says also it's a rishus. But if you look at the top line, guys, in the Amid Beis, yesterday's Amid Beis, look at the top line, Nigmar Adin Iyata B'Shoylev Tzaya. In other words, guys, outside. Like Rav Shimon ben Menasya, if you heard their tainas, even if you heard their tainas, it's too late. Like the Tanakama, you'd still be able to make b'shara even though you heard the tainas. When wouldn't you be able to make the b'shara? After the Gemara din. That's the nafkamina. Says the Gemara. Tanakama sav rishus hainu Rav Shimon Menasya ikaminayu mishna hainu Rav Shimon ben Menasya ikaminayu mishetishma divrayim batiyadei lehechin adin noita iyatam sheiloim lehen tsu batsu. So in other words, like Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, once you heard their tainas and you already know which way you're going, it's too late to make the pshara. Like the Tanakama, as long as you didn't have the Gemar din, you could make the pshara. That's the difference between the two. Now, now this pasuk fell is that we're speaking about we spoke out yesterday that Livtsoya, to go ahead and make a pshara, right? We spoke out yesterday that this is all the Inyan din. Now we're going to have a shita now that has nothing to do with din, but we're going to apply it to the Cheda Egel. We're going to apply it to the Cheda Egel. The pasuk ubaytseya berech neitz. We said the baytseya, the one who goes ahead and makes a pshara, you're going to curse him, right? You're not going to give him a bracha. You're not going to give him a bracha, right? You're not going to give him a bracha because he's doing the wrong thing. And we said we had Yehuda yesterday. Did he do the right thing? The Masha, the other way around. And now we're going ahead and saying there's an other opinion over here. What's that other opinion? And the other opinion is that of Rav Tanchum Archiloid. This pasuk of Baitseya, the exact lashon of the pasuk is Ubaitseya Berech Neitz Hashem. That pasuk is according to Rav Tanchum Bar Chiloi, is speaking about the Cheder Egel. When Aaron made a b'shara, right? When Aaron made a b'shara, look at the fourth line down Rashi. Fourth line down Rashi. El Keneged Maisa Egel. Sha'asnar b'shara. Aaron made a compromise. Beinoi levein atzmoi, right? V'hoira heter la'atzmoi lasas lehem esa egel. Now, Aaron, you look through the psukim there. Aaron made an egel. He said, "Take off the gold, the rings," and he made an egel. He made a mizbeach. So Aaron had a dilemma. What was his dilemma? Don't make it, or do make it. So the boitseah, right, is going on Aaron. It's not going on Dayanim. It's going on Aaron. The pshara of Aaron within himself, that he made a decision to go ahead and make the egel. That's what Rashi tells us. That's the what the pasuk's going on. Shenemar vayar Aaron vayive mizbeach lefanov. Ma ra'ah. Why did Aaron see that he made the mizbeach? Samar Binyamin bar Yefes Amar Rabbi Loza Ra'ah Chur shezuach lefanov. Chur was the son of Miriam. He was what? He was killed by trying to stop them. He was killed. So he saw that if they killed him, they killed Chur, they're going to kill Aaron. Amar said Aaron, Ilay shaman lahu hashta avidli kida avdu b'chur. If I don't listen to them, then what they're going to do to me what they did to Chur. Umekayi, and I'll be fulfilled with me. Im yahore b'migdash Hashem koyin v'navi. If a koyin or navi was killed, v'lehavi le takanta, right? And there won't be any correction for Klal Yisrael. La'olam mutav de la'avdu le'egel. Better make an egel. Efshahavilu takanta b'tshuva. Maybe what they would have a takana with tshuva. So if you look at Rashi, says Rashi, Aaron koyin v'navi haya v'lehavilu takanta. The Seifon Lasses came b'Zechariah ben Yehoyada. We know, guys, what happened to they killed Zechariah. The Yechra Beis Hamikdash al Kach. Right? What happened? Zechariah's blood was bubbling. Luzradin came and killed all the people. You see that murder caused the destruction. So I sent out Teres Chaim. I sent out two things. I first sent out a piece from the Chavetz Chaim, and I sent out a piece from the Teres Chaim. You have it mutiv? If you want, you can look on me if you want. Mutiv de la'avdu le'egel, efsha havei takante b'tshuva, l'chayra tema, but l'oivet kichavim umazolais chamura mishvichas damim. It's more chamar, the Israel avodah zara, more than murder. Umikol avera shebetayra. I mean, it's the avodah zara is the worst. So how can Aaron make a decision to save them from murder and rather have them do avodah zara? After all, avodah zara is worse than murder. The afagav the oinshay chamira. You know, guys, what's the oinish for avodah zara? Skila. What's the for hereg? Right. So l'chari, you can see from the punishment what the crime. So l'chari is saying that this is worse. The afagav the oinshay chamira. The chola oivid avodas kechav mazalis harihu kekaife bekol atayra kula. Mikol makom yesh le takone b'tshuva. In other words, the einish is a terrible thing if you go through. But the bottom line is a person can do tshuva for what? For avodah zara. When they go back and they deny the avodah zara, and they moed to Hashem, so the chet is what is mituken. Avon chas v'sholom nerag Aaron, right? Kodesh Hashem koyen b'navi. If the chas v'sholom they would kill Aaron, the navi and the koyen, lehavi efshel l'takin achet hahu. The achas shenerag, once he's dead, efshel lachzor l'chayosah. You can't bring him back to life. So if you do ovid avodah zara, it's done. It's not done. If you do avodah zara, you did it, but you could do tshuva. In other words, it's not mu'uvas layichaliskan. You can't. It's not something that's crooked that you can't make straight. Masha'en came by what? By killing. It's done. Ulakach kina kosiv. The Torah speaks about Ariga Zechariah Tfei Mimashakona Al Chet Oivdei Kechavim Mazalos. The kina on Eicha is for Zechariah more than avodah zara. It's worse avera because once they killed Zechariah, there was no going back. Sha'avdu kid ashna mekama mekrois. V'lachi b'shash shechatu Yisrael be'egel v'chazu b'tshuva. when they were chayta be'egel, they did tshuva. Sivu akosav laslos migdash lechapra ma'isa egel. After the ma'isa egel, they saw, there's a famous that why all of a sudden after the Ched Egel was in Mishkan, Hashem saw kaviyachol that they needed a physical manifestation of Hashem in the world. They needed a place. So they saw that was the Egel. The Egel was a physical thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu obviously didn't see. So this is the building of the Migdash, was the takana for the Egel, right? You see that what? The Torah commands it, Lasas le Migdash, l'chaper al ma'isa Egel, k'de'isa b'medrash. Chata be'ela elokecha Yisrael. They were chayta with Ela when Aaron said, "Ela elokecha Yisrael, this is your God Yisrael." And Nisratzu be'ela pikudei hamishkan. And the Misratzu, they did tshuva be'ela pikudei mishkan. Lashon be'ela elokecha Yisrael be'ela pikudei hamishkan. Right. So therefore, the Ela, you see, it was a kapara for that. Ubishasha hargu Yisrael Zechariah Navi adarabba. They killed him, and that destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. It wasn't possible what to do tshuva. So beautiful to hear that avada le'inyan, the mahus of the aveira avodah zarah is worse, but the tshuva to correct it, it's better avodah zarah than what then. Okay, so it's an unbelievable thing. Again, I would not suggest you do this at home, but
obviously Shmad is a different story.
Yeah. Again, you'll never be in this situation because they're all yagvayavar. They're all yagvayavar. To kill somebody, you have no. Again, it's not Linyan that. It's speaking of Linyan. Aaron over here making this cheshbon. We come up making this cheshbon is an unbelievable thing. It's an unbelievable thing. Okay, weiter. Back in the Gemara. Yeah, you'll repeat it for later. Okay. Bahani Tanoi, Rabbi Yeshua ben Korcha and Rabbi Loza, right? They darshan that Rabbi Yeshua ben Korcha said it's a mitzvah. Rabbi Loza said that it's asa, and Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, he learned this pasuk of Poite Mayim Rishon Modain. So what do they do with that pasuk? That pasuk of Poite Mayim Rishon Modain. We said yesterday that if somebody goes ahead and he releases water at Bereshis Modain at the beginning of a judgment, before the fight, is let it in the taish. So he said that was the pasuk. So in other words, he used that pasuk to say before you heard the litigants, then you're able to go ahead. So, but the other ones, what do they do with that pasuk? Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya brought a pasuk for his din. That what? That as long as you didn't hear and when they teya to one side, you can go ahead and make a pshara. What does Rabbi Eliezer, who said it's asa, and Rabbi Shimon said it's a mitzvah? What do they do with that pasuk? So the Gemara wants to know. V'hai tanoi poite b'rishim madam idarish bei kid Rav Hamnuna. They dash like Rav Hamnuna. Dam Rav Hamnuna. Ain't techilas dina shaladam nidain el al divrei Torah. Lachem maybe some shana fellas. The nidain is going to be al divrei Torah. Right? Shenemar poite mayim reishis madain. Mayim is Torah. Right? So poite mayim guys, they're going to open up with Torah. Reishis madain. That's of your din. You hear the way dashing the pasuk, guys. Right? That when you lachem some shana, right? Poite mayim, like peta chamar comes out first. Poite mayim in mayim elatayra. It's a poite mayim. They're going to ask you reishis madain. That's the beginning of the din lachem some shana. That's okay. But see Taisus in a second. So I'm Rav Huna. Hi Tigra. Hi a fight. Damya l'tzinura de bitka. A fight. A machloikis is compared to a hole in a stream, like in a dike. The Maya. Keeping the ravach, once it begins to flow, ravach. In other words, if you just like you have a hole in the dike, if you go ahead and stop it when it's small, it stops. But what happens when it begins to flow? Then it opens up. So too machloikis. You start with something, and over time it just builds up and builds up. It becomes I think the English term is making a mountain out of a molehill. Right? It becomes a big thing. Abaya kashishama. The may dami leguda de gamla, kivin de come. It's speaking like a bridge, a wooden drawbridge, not a drawbridge, a wooden plank bridge that it's shaky, but once you step on it, it becomes to take its place. So the same thing, once you begin stepping on machlokes, it becomes more set in its place. Okay, so now, Rabbi Yaakov asked the kasha. I thought they asked you, did you Yosik in business? I thought they asked you that first. Okay, so look at Taisus, the second Taisus on the page. El al divrei Torah, v'od aminu perik b'mam likin in him Shabbos sheshoyin l'loi nasata v'nasata be'amuna. Did you deal honestly in business? V'yachkach kavata itin l'Torah, and afterwards they ask you kavata itin l'Torah. So he's asking a kasha. Over here in Agamar, it's mashma they're going to be Yosik in Torah first. Yet over there, the Gemara in Shabbos is mashma that what? They're going to ask you if you dealt in business correctly. Says the Gemara, Hasam over there, Hasam Adam she'oisik b'Torah Mari. In other words, that's a person that's oisik b'Torah, el shloi kaveh itim, but he wasn't kaveh itim. In other words, they know he's oisik b'Torah, but he wasn't kaveh at certain times for Torah. So therefore, they ask him about business. And over here is speaking about a person who wasn't oisik at all. So in other words, if a person learns, the question is going to be, were you faleslich in business? Were you kaveh itim l'Torah? Right? And a person who doesn't learn at all, they're going to ask him, were you kaveh itim l'Torah? Could be they'll ask you first about business, but the punishment will be first about Torah. So in other words, that you left Torah. So two ways to learn: speaking about different people, or speaking about, they'll ask you first about business, but the punishment that will be the Torah. So Baruch Hashem, fellas, you kaveh in the Torah. Baruch Hashem, nightly basis, sometimes on holiday mornings, but we're kaveh in the Torah. Anyway, Baruch Hashem. Okay, you have a siman over here. A siman is so this is a siman of the different cases. We're going to have, guys, a bunch of different statements and corroborated with pesukim. So this usually, sometimes yesterday, the siman was for the name of the Tanoim. Here's the simons for the cases, okay? So the siman is Shin Mem Aleph Yud, and that's the answer what a person heard. Shin Tes Yud is the lashon of two, Shtayim. Shin Beis Aleph speaks about 7 pits, and Zmirois is speaking about singing. You're going to sing songs from Besdin, and Hey Vav is speaking about. We're going to see the case of Naima. Okay, says the Gemara. Let's see the cases. So Hahud the Habi Ka'amar. This person used to go ahead and say, "V'azol toive deshama v'adish chalufa bishnemeya." Better a person who listens to and gets shtocht, and he doesn't go ahead and react, is better than what? Than bishta meya. It's better. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, "Toiv deshama v'adish." Ashrav, fortunate is the one sheshemeyacher pasai. He hears his embarrassment. B'shoisek umargo b'kach v'yadish and chalufa b'shisa meya holchulim b'shtikasai meya roy shahayu boys alav al yidei ataga. In other words, if you would have reacted to what that person said, it would cause a tremendous fight. But you going ahead and not reacting, saves you from 100 terrible things. It's again the ability to go ahead and turn the other cheek is a very, very, very chashuv thing. Very chashuv thing. To be positive, to go ahead and I'll tell you an interesting story. I'm going to take it off the. Baruch Hashem, I thought. No, my brother will not put in the blog. I don't even have to tell him. Wasn't that a great blog today?
Yeah.
Guys, they liked. You see, Benji, it was great. He's really, what?
Put it out every day.
He wants it. They want it out every day. Okay.
If you're ready, use that.
Okay. Anyway. Ahudavi Kamar v'azal b'tuviat shama v'adish chaluf b'shtei meya. Amay Shmuel Rav Yehuda kroksiv poite mayim reishis madain. Someone poite mayim. If you begin with machlokes, reishis madain, that's the beginning word of din, and reish is meya dine. The madain is in nutrikin of 100 dinim. Ahudavi Kamar v'azal atarti tlas gonva loy mikdal. Guy's walking along and he says, you know what? On stealing twice, and stealing a third time, you won't get killed. But it has to be Bab Machteres. Why would you get killed for Geneva? The only one gets killed for Geneva, what is Bab Machteres? The guy comes out in a tunnel, right? So therefore, Samlei Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda Kroksiv. It's a pasuk. Kayamar Hashem, what does Hashem say? Al Shloisha Pishe Yisrael. V'al Arba Lo Yashivenu. Claim on 4 Pshayim Ein Olai Oid Laheshiv Reikam. In other words, don't test HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Some people listen after. Ahu Dabi Kama Ba'azol Shev Biri L'Shalma. There are 7 pits that you can dig in front of a person of Shalom, and he won't go ahead and get damaged in any one of them. The Chada L'Avid Bish, and one for a person, a bad guy, it only takes one to get him. Amlei Shmuel Rav Yehuda Kroksiv Ki Sheva Yipol Tzadik v'Kam, right? And Rishoyim Yikosh L'Bara. The Tzadik gets 7 times, falls down, he gets up, and a Rasha Yikosh L'Bara. Ahu Davi Kama Ba'azol. He was going along the Oslam Beidina Shakal Glima. Right? When Bezdin takes your shirt, Lizmar Zemer. When Bezdin takes your shirt, sing a song, V'lezel B'orcha, and go on the way. Amalei Shmuel Rav Yehuda Kroksiv, it's a pasuk. V'gam kol ha'am hazeh al makoyma yavai b'shalom. All the the whole nation, even the ones who what? Not only the ones who win in court, but even the ones who lose in court, kol right? Even the ones who lose in court, right, will go in shalom. So there's a great piece, guys. I thought it was kedai to do from the Chafetz Chaim on this mashal. I sent it out. It's a great piece in the Chafetz Chaim in the Sefer Aves Chesed. Okay, in the Sefer Aves Chesed, there's a really, really nice piece. So look it out. I sent it. You'll see Chelik Sheni in Shir. Chelik Sheni. There it is. That's not the one I want. This right? Yeah, this is the first one I sent out. It says it should say Chelik Sheni, right? Come on here. Okay, this is the Kami Yesh Leila Adam Lizdabik Tamid B'Midas HaChesed. Said the Chafetz Chaim how a person should be davik to cling to the Midas HaChesed, like it says in the pasuk. Higid Lecha Adam Matoiv U'Mashem Darish Mimcha. We're going to go through a few questions. You're not going to get the answers to all of them. Why does Hashem want from you? Kim Asleis Mishpat V'Aves Chesed. You should do Mishpat and Aves Chesed. Well, it should have said Kim Asleis Mishpat V'Chesed. You should doesn't say Aves Chesed. Say just Mishpat V'Chesed. Or of Mishpat V'Chesed. The Gam Loshin Higid Lecha Adam. The Mashma Deba Kosav Gali Stava to reveal something. Shlo Yada Adam Yatzbet. You don't know yourself. But like Kol Olam Yodim Nasas Mishpat Hu Inyan Gadol. To do Mishpat is a big thing. Where do you know that from? He Parshas Ve'elam Mishpatim. Become the Chesed Hu Inyan Gadol. Become a Pesukim Amorim Elinyan Zeh Pesukim discuss Chesed. Commission is Bar El B'Psichas HaSefer, like I explained it in the beginning of the Sefer. Elo Inyan Hu Api Masha Amr Chazal. Listen to this, guys. Hayman de Shaklu Leglime Mibeidina, a guy who lost his shirt in Bezdin, he lost. Lizmer Zmayre should sing. Unavara Inyan B'Taima B'Derech Dimyan. Says the Chafetz Chaim, I can explain this. What? Derech Dimyan from with a mashal. Bir Achas Hayakat Shel Mardim. In the city there was a cat of rebels. They were rebels. The Chibru Aleim Kama Nashim, and they gathered a bunch of men. Ukedei Lechazek Chevrasan. And in order to go ahead and be machazik the chevra, his scheme b'neihem the following: shekol anshe achabura shalahem yilbeshu min beged echad savua b'shinay mishar nashim. They wear a beged that looks different than anybody else. Maybe green, right? Maybe a green beged, a green jersey, right? They read something, and everyone else is wearing blue or red, and you're wearing green, right? In other words, I see someone in a green jersey, run the other way. No, if you see, I'll know that you're on my team. Now, after a loss, they go to the bar, right? And they're drinking. They get drunk. And they don't want to pay. And the bar owner says, you're not leaving here. The only way you're leaving here, I like that green jersey. Go ahead, take it, and you'll use the mashkin, and you'll come back what and pay, and you'll get it back. And they leave what? They go out, and they're so angry. They're terribly angry. After all, they just lost their shirt, literally. And after a short period of time, their secret to the king, that what that they're rebelling. The hasimin shasa beinayim, and the simin of the green jersey between them. The tafsu kol misha hayabay simin zeh. Anyone who had that green jersey was chapped up. Ubatra achamasayim, and they checked into them, they tortured them. And it became clear that what they were rebelling against the king. And I guarantee you things wouldn't end up good for them. They and all their property is gone. Finished. Finito. Except the guys who lost their shirt, except the guys who were drinking in the bar. Those guys, they were safe. Why? Because they didn't know that they were part of the chevra. They were saved. Now, what does each guy say to the other guy? We thought that the bartender did us an avla by taking our shirts. Did a tremendous chesed for us. We're still alive. Let us go to him. The Kabbalah Tzmeinu, for the future, the Makabal on themselves. They're going to not rebel anymore. Haroyim, a person's got to know. A person steals or something that's not squeaky clean, that he got it in a derogatory way. That's going to cause him to lose his money that he got. Beheta. Brings up when Bezdin sees that what he's wearing is gazel biyadai, and they paskin keneged, oh, you got it, give it to your friend, you lost. Sarich lezamer, you have to go ahead and sing, and be happy. So in other words, you're going to get it's a tremendously great thing that happens to you as a result of you having somebody else's property and you losing it. You're going to be able to retain your property that you had bekashrus. That's a very good thing, and therefore, even in that situation, you're just saying a great mashal, no? It's a great piece. The Chavetz Chaim. Chavetz Chaim is very, very, very understated his great mashalim. His mashalim are fantastic. You know, you say the Dubna Magid. When you think of a mashalim, you think of the Dubna Magid. Chavetz Chaim Feltner, she's tremendous. So that's the way. So therefore, when Bezdin takes away your shirt, be happy. You know why? Why should you be happy? Because it's not yours. It's not yours. It's Bezdin Paskin Allah. It's not yours. It belongs to the other guy. So it belongs to the other guy. It's gazelle in your hands. Be happy that he took it away, because ultimately a tremendous guy is going to come out of it. So we had to come tonight. It's tremendous, tremendous guys. Okay, very good schmack. Okay. Where am I? Okay. Amalei Shmuel Rav Yehuda. Kroksiv, he brings the pasuk, right? Next. Ahu the Havik Amar v'Azol. He nama v'dikla shafal. An isha nama, she's sleeping. V'dikula shafal, and the basket that she has her tools of the trade. She does seamstress, you know, some type of, right? It's going to go ahead and it's going to fall over. Meaning, if she sleeps, if she's lazy, she's going to lose not have a job. So it says, so on that Shmuel said, there's a pasuk, right? Shmuel said there's a pasuk for that. Amalei Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda Kroksiv Ba'at Saltayim, right? Yimach Hamakara. If you're lazy, the roof is going to go ahead and fall in. Right? A person that I've trusted in, he lifted up his fist, and he came against me. He raised his fist against me. Or the Aruch says he raised a Kli Zayin against me. Right? The one that I had trust in, he raised his heel against me. Shmuel, Rav Yehuda, Kroksiv. Okay, we just did it. when you and your wife are in love and things are well, Habi Aziza pusyo this safsira. You're able to sleep on a bed that's the width of a sword together, shkiva. But hashtad le Aziza rachim asad, and as the love wanes over time, puya bashisha gamidi, a bed of 60 gamidi, it's a large amp sagilon. It's not enough. So when you love, the bed's small, when not Amrav Huna, Kroiksiv, may Kurksiv, and the Atil Chasham, for the Barti Itcha Meala Kapiris. So the Kapiris was a tefach thick, fellas. From the floor, the Orin to the top was 10 tefachim. And so that's when Vitanya, Orin Tisha, the Kapiris tefach. The Orin was Tisha tefachim, the Kapiris was a tefach, a total of 10. Harikana Sori, you have a total of 10 tefachim in all. Uksiv abayis shebon hamelech shlomo lashem shishimama orchoy ve'esem rachboy ushloishimama kamasloy. So that's when there's love. You see that what? Ulvesoif ksiv koyama Hashem hashemayim kisi v'aretz adom ragle. Because Baruch Hu, the heavens are His throne and the earth is what? So when there's love, Hashem by the Aron and He's in the Beis Hamikdash. But where there's not, then what? Hakadosh Baruch Hu is far away and the earth is His footstool. So therefore, you see that this concept. Is the bias shedivnali. My mashma the loisaguru lishna the kenusha. We said before the lashon of loisaguru that Rabbi Shua ben Korcha said that that the Talmud should not go. If Rabbi Shua ben Korcha said if the Talmud sees the Rebbe blowing it in din, he should open his mouth. So loisaguru means he shouldn't withhold. Doesn't mean he shouldn't withhold. If he sees the Rebbe blowing it, you shouldn't withhold it. Amarav Nachman Amakra, v'yayin le'sishte v'le'segar. It's lashon of gathering in. Don't v'acha b'Yakov Ama mehacha tachim b'kaitz lachma agra b'kotzem aychala. Lashon again of gathering. V'acha b'Yedavika Ama mehacha oige b'kayitz ben maskil. He gets wise. Now, a new mnemonic. MS Mammon Yira Simin. Amrav Shmuel ben Nachmani Amrav Yonason. Kol dayan shedon din MS lamitai any dayan who does MS the gedin mashra shchina b'Yisrael. Shnemar. Elokim nitza badas kel. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is there. B'kerev Elokim yishpait. So He's among us. Kol dayan she'enu dan din emes lamitay goyim l'shchina shedisalach Yisrael. He causes the shchina to leave. Shnemar mishoid aniyim me'en kasev yoinim ata okum yom Hashem. From the oppression of the aniyim, because you're going to blow it in din. Hashem says what? Okum, I'm going to leave. One Rabbi Shmuel ben Nachmani. I'm Rabbi Yonason. Kol dayan she'noitel misev noisin l'zeh shaloi kedin. If you go ahead and blow it, you give it from one person to the other person that you shouldn't. Kadosh Baruch Hu noitel mimeno nafshe. Kadosh Baruch Hu will take his nefesh. Nemar atigzel dal ki dal hu v'al tidache oni. Do not rob an oni b'shar in court. Ki Hashem yorav rivam the koves koiveyem nafesh. And He robs those who rob them by taking their nefesh. You should view. So you have a sword lying between his legs. The Rif says munachal savarei on his neck. The Gehenna pesuch leib tachtoiv and Gehenna underneath. Again, being a dayan is not the easiest business in the world, but you'll be rewarded. Shenemar, but shenemar, because the pasuk says hine mitasei shloimai. Now, guys, when it says shloimai, it doesn't in Shir Hashirim. It doesn't mean shlomo. In Shir Hashirim, it means melech shehashalom shaloi. Guys, shlomo. Melech Shalom Shalom. That's what it means. So it's pointing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Shlomo is Nutrikon. It doesn't mean Shlomo. Shlomo wrote it. It means Melech Shalom Shalom. Hine mitasa shel Shlomo, the mita of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shishim Giborim Savla, the Gibor Yisrael, Kulam Achuz Yecher Melam Nimulchama, Ish Chabar Al Yerecha, Mipachad Baleilos. What's the Pachad Leilos? Mipachad Shel Gehenim, Shedom Elaila. It's the Pachad of Gehenim that is Dom Elaila. Dorish Rav Yoshi, Avitem Rav Nachman by Yitzchak, Maidich Siv, Beis David Koyam Hashem, Dinoi Lebaike Mishpat, Vatsiloi Gozlam Yad Oishek. Smashma that you only do Dinoi Lebaike, V'chi Boike Danin, V'chol Yom Ein Danin. You only judge in the morning, not the whole day. If the thing is clear to you like the morning, Amru, then say it. V'mlav Al Tameu, do not say it. Rabbi Yonason Mechacha. Emel Lechacham Achoisiyat, say to a Chacham, you're my sister. In Bar Lecha Adavik Achoischa, if it's clear to you like your sister, she asur lecha, it's us to live with her. Amru, say it. V'mlav Al Tameu. Says the Vilna Gaon on this pasuk, fellas, that there's two yana for a dayan. You have to have done in the Torah, and Satan's you have to have the fifth chelik Shulchan Aruch. You have to be melumin in derech eretz. So when it says to achoischa, that's clear like Torah. That's partial like the Torah, right? That just like you know clearly from the Torah, your sister's us to you, so too in din you have to be clear. And boika refers to the ability to clarify things that you're able to, you're able to be meroimim. So that's the two in Yonim over here. In other words, the psukim are explaining two aspects of a dayan. They're not conflicting with each other. They're explaining the two aspects of a dayan, to be able to see clearly and to be able to pass al pi Torah. That's the way the girl learns here. I remember Shmuel Levi. Asara sheyoshim bedin, koila tola b'tzava. They have a chain around their neck. Kulan. Pshita, like tzricha elul talmud yosef from the rabbi. Like we said before, he can't be shaysik. He also he has a need to go ahead and open his mouth. Rafuna ki havi asi din al kamei. When a din will come in front of him, michnif u'maisi asara rabbanim miberav. He would gather 10 talmidim chachamim. Elma ki heiki dilemache shiva mikashua. That each one, if we blow it, should receive a chip from the beam. In other words, if we blow it, it shouldn't be totally up on me. When you have a tray for shaylet tarfus come in front of him, he bring either 10 or all the butchers of Masa Machasya that have a convention. Omar kiheki delamacha shiva mikshua. That there should be responsibility. Kiyasar of Dimi Omar Dorish Rav Nachman Bar Koyin Ma'idich Melch b'Mishpat Yamid Oretz B'ish Trumois Yarsena, and a person of gifts Yarsena will be broken. Im dayin doima lemelech shein etzarech klum yamid oretz. Then the world can consider it din. Oilam chesed yibon. It's going to go ahead on din. It's going to exist chesed and mishpat. Then doima lekoyin shemachsev bebeis hagoynis. If you're like a koyin who goes from threshing floor to threshing floor, you're a sena. The bein asina ukme dayin lo havi gomed. In the bein nasi they put a dayin up who wasn't learned. Amlei Yehuda bar Nachmeni mitugamana the Reish Lakish. He said to Yehuda the bar Tagman Reish Lakish, "Kum Allah ba'amoira." Go ahead and be metagen for him. So come, Rav Yehuda got up, Gachin Allah. He bent down to hear what this dayan is going to say. He said nothing. So Pasach va'amar. So Rav Yehuda said, "Hoy amar le'etz." So woe to the eitz hakitza oiri le'even daima. Woe to him who says to wood, right? Wake. Who yoira? He can't le'even daima. He dumam. He's compared to an evan. Who yoira can it teach? Who tafus zav kesev v'chol ruach ein mikirbo. He's overlaid with gold and silver, but there's no life to him. V'yaseh HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'parim me'amidim, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to take retribution of the people who appointed him. Shneimar v'Hashem beheichel kodshay hasmi fun of kol aretz. Be silent. Amrei Shlakish kol ha'mayim dayan she'ena hagen. Anyone who sets a dayan who's not correct, kilu noita ashera be Yisrael. It's like you went ahead and you planted an asher in Yisrael. Shneimar shoytim v'shoytim titin lecha. The samach, the next pasha, they sitin lecha ashera kol eitz. There's the Aruch HaNer, fellas. If you go ahead and plant an ashera, even if you don't serve it, you're over an issa. If you appoint a dayan, even if you never judge it, you're over an issa. In other words, that act of appointing, that act of planting the tree, you're over an issa right away. Amar Rav Ashi, that's a tushta. Amar Rav Ashi, u'makom sheyesh talmid chachamim kilu noita eitz l'mizbeach. When it's talmid chacham, like mamish, you put it next to the mizbeach. Talmid chacham is mechapin, and they go ahead and they you have a talmid chachamim. They have the ability to mechaper. The Rashi says, and they protect you. So if you're going to go ahead and appoint, in other words, you have an ability to point to Talmud Chacham as a dayan, and you don't. You point to Yotz, right? So therefore, it's like you took this Ashera and put it next to the Mizbeach, because the Talmud Chacham is done with the Mizbeach, because he protects you with his psak. Shenemar Eitz Mizbeach Hashem Elokecha Ksev Leisasan Iti Elohei Kesev Elohei Zav. You should make for me what Iti means. Like me in Tzelem Elokim, or the Shemesh v'Yareach who Hashemashim Mushamesh Iti Elokei Kesev Elohei Elokei Kesev Elohei Zav. Who do I avdidi? Haetz the Shari. Just gold and silver. You can make a getchka. You can make a getchka out of wood. Of course you can. So Rav Ashi Elohai Haba B'Shvil Kesef. That right? Elohai Haba B'Shvil Zav. We're speaking about a dayan that comes because of Kesef. He pays his way in. He bribes his way in. That's what the comparison is. Rav Kiyav also the Beidina, when Rav come to court, Hachi would say the Berois Nafsho Lekatola Nafik. On his own will, I'm going to die. In other words, see how severe the dying is. He said he's coming to die on his own will. Bitzavi Besa less whoever. The needs of his house he's not doing. But Reikon LeBesa Ayel, hopefully he'll come home to his house empty-handed. Bluish and Hebias Kitzia. Kiavi Chazi Vuha, when he would see a crowd of people following him, Rav Abasrei Omar in Yalul Shemayim Theo. If his stature rises to Shemayim, right, then he'll perish like his Gegeloloi Lenetzach. In other words, he put himself in his place. He should be like Golol. Mazutra Chasida ki havi mach. He was old, Mazutra. Ki havi makatve le b'Shabbat the Rigla. 30 days before the Chag, they would have this Shabbos the Regel, and he didn't want people. He was walking slowly, and people would be matriach him. So he had people carrying him on his shoulders. Amahachik lo olam chaysein. To olam is not to the rich. V'nezer l'dardar, and v'nezer crown l'dardar. Darish bakar min amilsa the Omer Rabbanan. Having masuna b'din. You should be very, you should be very careful in din. Be deliberate. The chsiv like salib and you should go ahead and walk up. The samach like the elam mishpatim. Fellas, you can walk up a ramp quicker than you can walk up a ramp slower than you can walk up steps. Steps you go much quicker. Ramp you have to go slower, right? So he said masunim badin that you should be deliberate and not make it quick because it says do not go ahead and make steps going up to the mizbeach. I'm Rabbi Eliezer. You wouldn't step over it. People were sitting. You shouldn't step over them. Shnemar like salib and milos. Samach leivel mishpatim asher tasim. Asher talam. Asher talam. They miboyle. Should say talam dam. I'm Rabbi Yomi Avitam Rabbi Rabba. Elu klei hadayanim. This refers to the kalim of dayanim. What is the kalim? We'll see in a second. That's his a shuf, a chalitza, a stick for malchus mardis. A ritzua from Akis Arboyim. Give me the tools of the trade. Makal, a stick. The stick was for Makas Mardis. That's Makas Drabonon. Ritzua is for Makas Deraisa. The shufra is to put a person in chayrim. They would blow a shofar, v'sandola, and for a chalitza. Batzaves shevtechem beisahi. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Keneged Makal v'ritzua tehezaris. Keneged Makal v'ritzua you should be zaris. What's Taisa say? Tehezaris. You shouldn't go ahead and should be careful using the stick. Don't go ahead and be too tough. In other words, go ahead and administer the lashes and makas mardis. Don't be too tough because you're going to be too much. That's what Taisa. Rashi seems to say the opposite. Rashi says it's good to spare the wild and spoil the child. Rashi seems to say that. If you look at Rashi, fellas, Ritzul malkas makal mardis shayfer sandal. Kol Savo Lashon Zirus, who? The Tanya, Kol Makim Shnema Tzav Enu Elu Lashon Zirus. Lashon Tzav means to go ahead and hasten a person. Valma Zirus, Ala Makal V'ala Ritzua, Shem Atil and Eim Ala Tzibur L'Shem Shemayim. In other words, he's telling you should do it. And that's going to go ahead L'Shem Shemayim. He'll teach you a few lessons. This is not going to work with Manazeh, but in those days, people were tougher. Shemoya Ben Achechim V'Shafatem, what does that mean? Amrav Chanina Azhar lebezdin shelo yishma divrei. It says Shemaya ben achechem. It's a azhara to bezdin shelo yishma divrei baldin koidem shiyav baldin chaver. Don't listen to one before the other one. You can't listen to one baldin before the other baldin shows up. Azhara lebaldin shelo yatim devar ledayin koidem shiyav baldin chaver. Right? And how do you know azhara that one should not? There's an issue for him to present his case before the other litigant shows up. So korbei nami, not only shamoa to hear, but to shameya to make heard. Shameya means make heard. That's the person talking. Similarly to that, Rav Kana Amamehacha. Leisisa, it says leisisa, you should not accept. Leisasi. Leisasi means you should not go ahead and make a false report accepted. You should make it accepted. Yishavartim tzedek am reish lakish tzedek es adin. Go ahead and be matzdik the din, and then go ahead and render it. Okay, we can stop over here.